What is up? Actually, right here. What is up, everybody? Let me check my levels. That should be good there. All right. What is up, and welcome to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I always remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. If it's your first time here, welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so that you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. And as tradition, as always, around here is that we always go to the chat first to check to see who are the first members of the Camera Junkie crew to make it here tonight. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. Let me find my mouse. There we are. Parker Jennings in the house saying hello to everyone. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for hanging out here. Mr. Paul Duncan, the Paul Duncan, Mr. Moderator's in the house. He's waving in. Also, we have Sly. Sly, I have to let you know, my bad last night. I was not in your live stream because I passed out. Aiden was taking a nap and I fell right alongside with him, and I was out, and by the time I woke up, you were all said and done. So gotta catch the replay, but I wouldn't be surprised you just knocked that out the park anyways. You're a pro. Okay, so we have Paul saying hello to Parker and Sly. We also have Yolanda in the house. Let me see here. Saying hello. On camera, happy Saturday evening to me, to Aiden, and the MCJ crew. Thank you for hanging out here as always. On camera, for those of you who don't know, that's also Gretchen. That's another one of her channels that she's got all strictly about her stuff on cameras. So if you haven't done so, please be sure to visit her, subscribe, and follow along with her journey in that channel as well. But it's always a pleasure to have you here, Gretchen. Okay. And that is the first members who are here. We're going to have some people trickle along, but we're going to get right into today's topic, which is Lime Day deals, or better said, my Lime Day deals. So, for those of you who are not familiar with what I'm talking about, last month, usually every year, Amazon has Prime Day and their Prime Day deals. Now, if you've been following along with the Prime Days, you know that they've kind of started off with really good deals, and the last couple of installments have been a bit lackluster. Not too many great deals, and not that they're not great deals, they just weren't anything like hyped up for that day. It was more like a hey, this is overstock inventory that we need to get rid of day, instead of Prime Day deals, right? So not taking anything away, there were some deals, but not as many as before. So there was really nothing that sparked my interest when it came to Prime Day deals this last time that they rolled around. But one thing that a YouTube creator from the name of Linus Sebastian, who I've mentioned here on the channel before because he's someone that I followed on YouTube when it comes to like the electronics and computer aspects, me coming from the PC world, and he dabbles in both, but mostly PC and caters to the gamer demographic. Linus also has established a online store called the LTT store, or the Linus Tech Tips store, and the LTT store had their version of Prime Day, and they called it for Linus Lime Day. So Lime Day on the LTT store is actually where I ended up finding my Prime Day deals this last month, or this past month. So there was a couple of things that I was interested in, and with up to 65% savings on the website, I didn't hesitate to take advantage of that. So let's go ahead. Let me see. I should have a window here. I thought I had it prepped, but I did not. Okay, so let me go ahead and push this off to the side, minimize, and bring this over here. And I should be able to go into my City's got, there we go, boom, and here we are. This is the LTT store website. So if we go here in the home aspect, right, you'll see that there's a variety of different things. Let's move this window here. They have bags. Linus has actually created quite a few like industry leading products. One of them is his gamer bag, and the other one is his LTT screwdriver, which hence, as you can see here. Now, this screwdriver is n- no like no punches pulled, is kind of taking over the the screwdriver industry or market. They partnered with a reputable company that they felt had the best product and improved upon it. So it started off as a project, and I believe now he sold over 170,000 units. The color that you saw there, the red and black, is more traditional to like his brand colors, but is been doing so well that then they've actually created a variety of different colors and a variety of different collaborations with, you know, content creators and brands to get their colors with this screwdriver. So it's been a massive success, and that's one thing that I have yet to pull the trigger on, because I have so many tools that I currently don't need another ratcheting screwdriver. But if you continue through like his store, you see that's a variety of different things. As you can see, the LTT backpack, he's got a variety of different ones, from, you know, like plastic to, as you can see, like miner's backpack. Actually, that's actually the same backpack, the original, but this miner's backpack is actually the proof in the pudding of how good this backpack is, that a miner, you know, deep underground, used this backpack for over a year, and basically is just looks dirty, and there's no rips and tears, and there's nothing to it, putting it in the worst case scenario possible. But there's a lot of different things. Now, the one thing that I skimmed over right here is actually the thing that is the newest addition to the LTT store, and something that I've been waiting for a long time. They recently came out with it, and they were able to discount it for the Lime Day deals, which made it kind of like a no-brainer for me, because it was already in my LTT cart, which is the MCM arches. Now, as you click into it, it's going to give you a little bit information, and this falls under their cable management area. And this is all a series of magnetic arches, as you can see, and they're able to tie down all of your cable. Now, when you're dealing with multiple cameras, right, and you have a setup where you have multiple cameras, like I do, multiple angles, overhead shots. So right here I have 5 different cameras set up. So there's cabling that has to be dealt with all of these different aspects. So the more that I add to it, the more cables and things that I'm going to have to arrange. So I've been doing a pretty good job of it. But this thing really excited me for the reason that, let me go to that shot, kind of my behind the scenes shot. I'm gonna mention it. Look at how bad my iPhone XR is looking right now. I think it's on its last legs. I've been saying this phone has only been able to be used as a camera because of how bad the phone has been, and I think it's on its last legs. So right now we're getting this really bad motion blur. You know, even if I'm moving super slow, it's bad. But I digress. Hopefully I can still show you what I'm talking about. But everything on my desk, the top part here, the racks that hold everything together, including under my desk mat, all of this here is all metal, and I made this in a kind of DIY area from IKEA that no longer exists, right? So the entire setup that I have here is metal, which is why I was so fascinated with this setup of the of the arches because they are magnetic. And I've been already implementing magnets on everything that I do here. Now, actually, I shouldn't have switched, but going back to it to show you, this light right here is actually being held up by a magnet, right? There's just a series of 3 magnets, 2 on the corners and 1 in the center, and that allows me to just magnetize it right onto my shelf, which is also made of metal. And that's the same idea that I've had. Man, that camera's looking so bad right now. But as you can see here, that I have these like all these series of arches that now I'm able to utilize, and it has allowed me to basically reorganize all of my cables here. The best way that I can put it, because I was speaking to some of you earlier today about this, is that it's effectively, now that I'm starting to understand how important or how big this is for me, is that it's effectively doubling my desk size because it's metal. Right now, underneath my desk, I have just as many things as I do on top of it, and they're all being held up and magnetized and in order underneath my desk, including power supplies, because well, let me get into it. This thing actually came with an entire set. So these are the first things that they came out with, but by the time that I went around to hit up the LTT store, right, you can see that there's a 5 pack, there's the medium arches, and then they created this extra large one that wasn't part of the original one, but is going to give you some dimensions, you see. And this one is really cool because I'm actually using it as a headphone holder. So I'm just going to grab it from underneath, but I'm able to just take the arch and put my headphones there, and now they're completely out of the way and underneath my desk, but not too far away that they're still easily accessible. So if I scroll up to the top right over here, they have an entire new section in their store from the home gear clothing, because they do sell a lot of merchandise and clothing. And another thing is that I haven't bought anything myself, but great reviews on all their clothing because they actually test all of their products. So going back to it, now they have a new section which is cable management, which is basically what you're seeing here is what a lot of people are dealing with, right? And they go from that mess to that management with this setup. So in the cable management side, they have a series of like kits that you can have available. So they have the arches, they have, from different sizes, small, medium, large. Then they have the power brick holders, see, like the 2 pack, the cable ties with magnetic clips, and then the power bar 2 pack. As you can see, you can actually set the power bars there um for your computer, and actually like magnetize it with the appropriate clips. But once again, I'm looking at all of this thinking that I don't really need the plates that you're seeing on the screen now, because of the simple fact that everything here is made out of metal. So this is very easily just moved out of the way and clipped underneath, and now I know exactly where it's at, but it's not on my desk, and it's absolutely secure. One of the other hooks now I actually have holding up Aiden's iPad while I have it charging here to have it ready for him when he's gonna play with it again. So it's just been a like convenience factor like to 11, right? Like not plus 10 but plus 11 for me in my personal use case scenario. Now, if you already have an idea of what you're going to lay out, I also recommend it because they do provide the plates. So anything that you were to pick up, they also provide the plates that correspond with the magnetic clips that you're going to use. So in case you do have a wood desk or a particle wood desk, you're still able to kind of adhere them and even screw into them with the provided screws that come in each pack, so that the plates are on your setup firm. That's allowing you for these magnets to do their job. And man, do they do their job. They are super, super powerful. I mean, like, they are super, super strong. Like, I am really impressed with the amount of weight that these things can hold. I really am taken away or taken back by how well they're working. And one of my favorite features, going back to the bad camera, is that I have a lot of things coming out of my USB connections right in front of my Mac Studio. So going back to the bad camera, right here, I've always had a lot of cables connecting, but instead of having them draped all over, what I do immediately is that I reroute them to the back, right? And like, for instance, this, my Stream Deck, right? It's on a cable that I'm gonna constantly need to be moving it around, pushing it back and forward, and I didn't want to have like a cable coil of a bunch of extra USB cable. So I throw it behind the desk, and basically the cable itself works as its weight to keep it in line, but it was just basically squeezed, right, or squeezed between my Mac Studio and the speaker that I have here. Now I was able, and I'm not sure if we can see it, but I'll just pull it off. It's a bit tough, but I was able to grab one of the small arches, right, and now I'm able to group all of these USB cables here and right against my desk, have them connected, and now they are like nice and neat and organized, and it gives me a lot more flexibility with my Stream Deck. So it's just like another bonus when it comes to like the cleanliness and the ease of use that I'm getting out of my desktop. And I'm still taken back. Like, it's almost like I doubled my desktop space because I have so many things. I have two sets of like headphones just underneath. So I have my Rode wireless, but then just on the next phase, I'm able to just grab my Sonys. So I have my Sonys and my Rodes, right? And it's all connected or magnetized, taken out of the way. So let me go back to this. That scene is really messing me up, that camera. I see it and I see all that ghost stuff, and it reminds me of like Blair Witch Project or something. Anyway, let me know if any of you guys saw the Blair Witch Project when it was in theaters, because that was one of those rare moments in time. But going back to it, let's see if we were to go to shop now for this management system, right? They have these bundle packs, right? And you have the desk solution, the room solution, and the home solution, right? The home comes out to $500. That was not even near like what I was looking at, but as you can see, what you're getting out of it is pretty intensive with the 40/20. Like, this is gonna set up an entire studio. So I would say home/studio. So I was already looking in between these two setups, right? The room size or the desk size. And in my case, I obviously had a desk size, but for the Lime Day deals, they actually upped it up, like upped the ante, right? They added a lot more of the large arches, and they added the extra large arches, which are the ones that I'm using for my headphones, which are the extra big ones, which come in the home solution package. And if you were to buy them separately, you know, they're also like pretty expensive, but in my opinion, are they worth it? Absolutely. And especially that I was able to get this special deal for even less than what's listed on their 15% sale right now. So to get basically the desk solution with two extra large arches, which is kind of throwing into the room solution category. So it came with the 4 large arches. It only came with 2 power bar keys, four of the tie holders, and as you can see, like I have all the boxes for all these things that I'm saying. So um two of the extra large, like all the boxes are here, like to get into it, the power brick holder. So it was like a Goldilocks zone in between the desk and the room solution as far as the arches went. And it came with two extra large as part of like the added bonus to sprinkle on top. And it was honestly, I think even less than what I paid there, because the price was so well, and I was gonna need to pay for the shipping from Canada, right, from all the way up there from the White Walkers, that I decided that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get something else. And I started looking at throughout the shop, which led me to their let me see where it's at, their desk pads. Bam. So the LTT desk pads, they have a really cool system, which really impressed me, and which is why I say like I also like their kind of like business model. They put a price to their desk pads, and that's the price. Now the size that you need is irrelevant. They don't care whether it's the smallest desk pad or the largest desk pad. There, it's gonna be set to that price, and you get to choose. So me having an extravagantly large desk, 42 inches, and I made it myself. The 42 inch, I wanted to get it covered as much as possible because it is all metal, and it patinas. So I had already been looking into these, and I was going to pull the trigger on the Northern Lights desk pad, but I got too much of a good deal on the Circuit desk pad, which is what I pulled the trigger on. So now if I just go over to my overhead shot, you can see that I already have it in play, the LTT desk pad, and I have it in use. Another cool thing is they sent a packet of free stickers, right? LTT branded stickers, computer stuff. I've already used a couple. One of them was on my MacBook Air, which I put the Linus and Luke stickers from the WAN show, which is another thing that I always like watch every Friday night. I watch the WAN show after I watch uh, Peter Gregg and Sly on Friday nights. I then rewatch the WAN show because sometimes they're still live by the time that Sly finishes up her live streams. But just I was like really, really satisfied, very happy, and the quality of the desk pad is amazing. Now, I haven't taken the black one underneath off yet, so I just threw this on top so that so I can just show it off for today. But I'm going to be removing the black one because I do have it tacked down with adhesives, and I'm going to be doing the same with this new LTT pad. It's dark, so it's still not reflecting a lot of light for my setup, and yet it's still colorful enough that's now giving a better contrast for this camera to focus on. And also, like, say I was displaying something and demonstrating and going like, hey, take a look at what I did by creating foam on top of my mouse so that it has a bumper stop, so that while I'm using it, my can of Monster doesn't accidentally click the buttons for me. But then at the same time, this was a micro USB mouse, so I put a micro USB to USB-C adapter there and tacked it all down with hot glue, and now that is my USB-C Logitech mouse that I recharge through the USB-C, and that reinforces the third point of contact, so that once I'm hanging around and I have like my mouse, once again, I'm able to scoot my Monster Energy out of the way and not have it click and select things while I'm editing videos in Final Cut. So the arches, what was it that I got? I ended up getting, going back to it, I'm on the desk pads. I ended up getting quite a bit. I got like 4 of the cable ties, two of the power brick holders, which really also changed the game. I was trying to figure out how I was gonna light up my Ulanzi light back here because it has a pretty substantial power brick, but the cable away from the power brick is not that long. I don't even think it's like 2 meters. I don't even think it's like 6 feet, right? I would say four, like 4 feet long. But I digress because I got my new overhead um light stand that's attached to my wall, and because it's also made out of metal, I was able to grab one of these. Let me go back to my main shot. I was able to grab one of these power brick holders and now strap the power brick to it. And these magnets are holding the power brick on the same light stand. So now I just have a small little cable, which makes it super convenient if I ever want to take down that light, right? Because it's one of those figure eight cable chargers. I forgot what they were called, the C style. Yeah, I got one. I forgot what was the name of this. I really did, but just this standard old school, cable that is interchangeable. You get them with your PlayStations and Xboxes. Just a standard two connection plug is what's on the back of that power brick. So now I'm able to disconnect it, leave that cable dangling there, and take the power brick, which is, like I said, just 4 foot of cable with the light, and then use it somewhere else, right? Like if I need to use it on site somewhere else. So it's like just the best of both worlds. It's totally just adapted to what I was already doing, which is when I go back to it. As soon as Linus mentioned that they were coming out with this, my eyes opened up extremely wide. And I was like, oh, this is going to work perfect for me. And now that I have it, I could attest that it does. I'm probably going to pick up another set, right? Just to finalize everything. But I'm just like super ecstatic because it's able to, like move with me. Look at this. Yeah. I have them pretty much everywhere right now, and I'm just like super super happy. That just goodness. I don't know if you can see the stress that, like, that's how much it took for me to rip this off the desk, because traditionally they're designed to be very powerful, but to only be connected to a small little, like, flimsy little piece of metal. And there's so much metal on my desk that once it sticks, it's like it's anchored down. So, um, just super ecstatic about my setup right now. Let me know your thoughts on what you think about this. I didn't end up paying like I don't even think like $100 for everything, and I think it just went past that a little bit with shipping, but that was pretty much it. Like, and the deal was just so great that I couldn't hesitate, and I was just super glad that I was able to pull the trigger. The one bad thing is that it wasn't an Amazon Prime Day deal, so I didn't get it at my house like within 2 to 3 days. I just got it, like it took pretty much like a month for it to happen, because I got that particular like Goldilocks day deal that had the extra large arches. It had already informed me that those orders were going to be shipped at the end of July. So on the 31st is when they actually shipped, and it took about 2 weeks to get here. So if you were to order today, normally don't expect the things to be a month out, because they were dealing with all the extra overflow of these special day deals. So for that reason, if you were to order something normally, expect it to be, shipped and at your home probably within 2 weeks time, coming from the great white north. So that's exactly what it is. But so far so good as far as my experience with LTT products, and I've just been like happily pleasantly surprised is the phrase. Pleasantly surprised with how well this has been working. I foresee that this is going to be the next thing that they come out with, that's going to kind of like revolutionize the market, similar to the backpack and their screwdrivers. So all right, let's go back to the chat to see exactly what you guys are saying. Oop, there we go. Let's see here. So we have Jeremy in the house saying, "What's up, fam?" Jeremy says, "Yolanda, I think I need to change my name to Saints Talk." You might get a completely different demographic with a name like that. You know what I mean. Okay, Slides in the house. So he goes, "I love these. My kind of OCD about cable management. Yo, like, just I'm looking forward to it. Like, let me go back to this bad camera. I'm so sorry, guys. My iPhone XR is really giving out, but to do it as slow as possible. Squeeze in here. Okay. So you can see I have everything magnetized. Like everything I have has a magnet on it one way or another to stick to it. But look, this small little cable that would just dangle and I would try to, now we have these tiny little arches, right? That now I'm able to stick right underneath. Oh, I missed the cable. And now it gives me like that finite control. So put one there, put one over here. We're good to go. As you can see, like everything's been magnetized on my setup, including my FX30. So even though we're looking at this camera, if I were to switch over here to show you this camera, the FX30, and this angle here, let me go ahead and go back to it, is actually right here. This is my FX30, and you can see that it's actually being held up by a gigantic magnet. Like this one right here, this is my main camera, is connected to the wall, which I need the extra support. That's why it's holding the teleprompter and all the extra weight. But just to get another angle, I'm able to connect this, and I'm just gonna pull it down real quick to show you that that's just a big magnet. This is the one that I got for the car, and now because it's sitting on top there, let's move the cable, I'm able to magnetize it there, and I'm probably ruined the shot now because I moved it, but we will continue to work on with that. But as you can see, that's the FX30 as well, and everything that I have here is magnetized. So now adding like these arches, you see like this cable that would always hang here, now I'm able to just throw the arch there, magnetize it, and once again out of the way. Just makes things so much easier. And as you can see, I still have extras. So I'm still figuring out what I'm gonna end up utilizing all these extra clips and things to it to finalize it. And it's already done so much, and I've just been using it, you know, basically lightly because I haven't even used everything. But if I find a bump in the road, so to speak, I will then see like if I order another one and get, you know, some more here in a couple of weeks. But so far so good, you know. And if you can see yourself utilizing something like this, then I would recommend it. If you, like I said, not everyone's gonna have a full metal desk like I do, which this benefits me like tenfold. But if you're looking to get a cable management system, look into this, because each one of like the choices that you make are going to come with the appropriate plate where you can stick and then even screw into if you need that extra reinforcement for whatever it is that you're going to use it for. So super happy. It's just been a great Lime Day deal for me. But yeah, I totally jacked up this shot. Let me see. Think I got it there. All right, well. All right, let's go back to here. Let's go back to this. Yolanda likes the Saints talk. Hey, John's in the house saying happy Saturday to the crew. Jeremy says, try to watch it with the family and the other night, and they were not impressed. Look at you with the mouse so crafty. What were you not impressed about? He says, look at you with the mouse so crafty. Yeah, that's me. But I am probably gonna be buying a new mouse, which is a whole nother thing. Like today I was deciding what I was gonna talk about, this or something else. That something else is the kind of the other thing that took a little bit of my attention, just from yesterday to today, which is a game that I've played, or a series of games that I played for the longest time. The Final Fantasy series actually has a portion or a installment of the game that I never touched. Is Final Fantasy 14, and it's because it's strictly online. Never really had the. It's been a while since I've had the time to like dedicate to play, or better said, to pay to play an MMORPG like Final Fantasy 14. And it's something that you would have to consistently pay in a month to month basis. It's like a subscription for something that I was rarely playing. So that's why I never got into it. But right now, I think they switched up from the subscription service to like an episode where you can buy certain levels or certain storylines of the game. And if you are like kind of still invested, then you can continue to buy expansions upon that. And with internet access, is giving you the time that you need to complete them, and it's not something that is more like time constraint. So for that reason, and Tom Buck actually had his live stream, or the couples table, was it, yesterday, with his wife, Heather Just Create, and she actually was the one who started it. And to give you a little background on what happened with them, she was always a gamer, but she started a gaming channel dedicated around this Final Fantasy 14, and that channel blew up for her on YouTube a lot more than her previous Heather Just Create channel. So she decided to dedicate more time to that, especially when it was like kind of doing well and kind of getting paid to play a video game. So she started doing that, and that led into other people around her and her husband Tom to gift Tom a like a handheld um emulator station, so to speak. It's kind of like a Game Boy that has a little microcomputer inside that allows you to play a lot of your favorite old school games in emulation right in your pocket. And that's what then started Tom playing video games in his spare time, and he started getting into the old RPGs that I played, thus being like the Chrono Triggers and the Final Fantasies and things like that that I played in my youth. So that led him to go down the rabbit hole and kind of start playing all of these vintage RPG games. And now he has also jumped into the MMORPG with Final Fantasy 14. Now, on the live stream yesterday, he talked about two things, and those two things were, one of them being that Final Fantasy 14 is giving away like the first three installments of the game for free for a limited time. So if you were to register on squareenix.com and create an account, you'd be able to utilize their servers, download those first installment, like the first version of the game, and then play it at your heart's content. With the time, it's a free trial in that aspect, and then you have the ability to buy the additional installments of the game if you want to continue in progressing in the storyline, right, and continue to play. So it's a kind of pay or pay to play kind of mentality, or a freemium sort of mentality, where you're getting the first bit of the game free, and if you've invested enough time and then you want to invest more into it so you can get more of an experience, then that's where they start cashing in even more on the back end, which is a pretty cool business model. But at the same time, now Tom also mentioned about, we're bringing it full circle, a new mouse, where it's this Rick's, is that what it's called? Strix ROG. It's from like Asus, right? Republics of Gamers, ROGs. It's one of those, but it's a mouse that basically has a full on keypad right in this area here. So where I do have a couple of extra buttons, this gamer mouse has an entire setup. And the really cool part about it is that the entire area where like the multi buttons or like the keypad, right, like 1 through 9 keypad is there, it actually detaches and you have a couple of other different accessories. One that looks more like this, I guess, for like editing or for your heart's content, in all sincerity. But what it does is that it gives you a mouse with basically a stream deck like this, kind of built into the side of it, so that while you're gaming and you're messing around with the mouse, you have access to like an entire set of macro keys, like at your thumb's desire, so to speak, or at your thumb's content. And you have all of that built into the mouse. So I had him sent me the link, and I'm about to pull the trigger on that. I just finished creating my account, and I was gonna take you guys with me through all that. I created the Square Enix account, but then when I went to install the game, it literally told me that my computer was too full and I didn't have enough space, which then threw me down the rabbit hole and scrolled me off over to transferring and removing all the extra stuff that I'm not utilizing, and realize how much of it I have. So grabbed one of my 2 terabyte hard drives that I had a terabyte and a half available. That, so I now just started dumping everything from my downloads folder, which has been doing the job. So once that's done, transferring all these video files and everything so that I can immediately remove them from my computer, I will then unzip the file, so to speak, or decompress the file and run it and start playing Final Fantasy 14. And this is the cool part: we have now the ability to play it on Mac. So that's really cool. So I'm thinking I'm gonna pull the trigger on this multi macro mouse, but it all depends on how I play the game with my stream deck in hand, because that's the way that I'm thinking. I'm thinking I do have a keyboard, right? I still have my full-fledged keyboard, and what I might have the ability to do is put the macros that I want for the game, instead of on the mouse, onto the stream deck, and then we'll just continue running from there. If I then like the game that much more, then I'll probably invest in the mouse and double up, having the macros on the mouse and also on the stream deck plus the keyboard. And then we're really playing, you know what I'm saying? Then we're really having fun. And if I continue from there, then I think it will be kind of like a no-brainer for me to invest in future installments of Final Fantasy 14 now. I'm kind of excited. My favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy 7, which some of you who have been riding out here with me for a long time know of, when I did my Final Fantasy 7 thing. When I started doing that like on Twitch for like a month and a half or something. Um, I still have a lot of fun. Like right now, in all sincerity, I can show you. This is kind of like my go-to gamer right now, and this is my Sony PSP Slim, the 3000 model, right? Is the 3000 2000 model. The first one was the 1000 model. So this is the 2000 model. And if I turn it on here, oh, it's probably gonna ask me for date and time and stuff like that, because it's been a while. I basically have Final Fantasy 7 installed on this PSP, and I play it all the time, and I save it to the memory. I've played that game too many times. I played that game in every way that you can play it. I played it originally on the PlayStation. I then emulated it onto a computer. I then emulated it over to the PSP. I emulated it over to the PSP Vita. I emulated it onto my Mac computers. I then purchased it again full fledged for the PC when they did a remake of it, and that was the one that I was like replaying. So it was like up graphics. They've done a 20-year anniversary and remade the entire thing for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, I believe. And I've stayed away from it completely because I want them to finish it incomplete and not have the installments so that I can buy all the installments and play it sort of like once and for all. That's why I want to play the Final Fantasy VII again so that I can kind of retire it, because I think I'm going to find it very difficult to be able to go backwards in the technology once I've played the PlayStation 4 version, to go back and play the PlayStation 1 version, if that makes sense. So that's exactly where I'm at with those games. Absolutely been my favorite, but Heather and Tom on their live stream are trying to get as many people to recruit kind of like in their guild, right? And for that reason, I've been sucked in, and now I am now starting my first account with Final Fantasy 14, and we'll see where it goes. The only other real game that I play is on that machine back there. Oh, what happened? Oh my god, look at me. I'm over here like, what happened, right? I forgot that I have the polarizer filter, and that you can't see that that screen is actually on. You understand? So when I went to look for it, look, I'm taking this off. See? That screen is on. And if I were to rotate the polarizer, you'd see even more of the screen. So crazy, right? So it got me just now because I looked at it through the screen and I was like, why isn't that on? Right? Because I was just gonna talk about that machine, and that the only game that I really play is what's it called? I even forget the name of it. I think it's Car Racer X or something like that. It's a car drifting game, and the physics on the game are so spot on to real life that it just allows my like ADD to just have a blast, right? And what I do is I just go in there and I just start changing all the features possible. Come on. Aiden's asking me for the iPad. And it allows me to basically, tinker to my heart's content. That's basically it in a nutshell. And you could adjust every little parameter in the game and then go out and test it and like rip up the streets and just start like drifting everywhere. It looks amazing. It's set up for VR. The computer set up for VR. I obviously do not have the space for a VR setup. If not, I would have it there. I'm gonna see hopefully in the future, right? And I'm not a VR. What I meant, like a VR racing rig. Like an entire rig to have like the VR experience. I don't have the space for that. I have the VR in the Vision Pro, which is what I was gonna say. I just hope that if I can get the visuals transferred over to the Vision Pro, where I can look side to side, and like be in a real time, car environment, that's just gonna be next level. But let's see about this new version 2.0 of the operating system and what we're able to do with it. All right, so we're still in the comment scene. It just says that is such a great product. I think so. I really like this stuff. Okay, so Jeremy's saying not the FX30 as your main. I'm guessing why am I not using the FX30 as my main? Well, first of all, if I had the FX30 as my main, then I would have less use for my Sony A7R2, which is what you're looking at right now. Second, if I were to use my FX30, it makes it more difficult for me to use my FX30 in everything else that I'm using the FX30 with, because I'm having so much fun with it. I'm running around shooting B-roll, handheld, overhead shots. I'm doing pretty much everything with it. And like I had showed before, I have it on a magnet setup. And if I go back to that shot, right, I also have it on this Ulanzi quick connect claw, so that I can easily just disconnect it altogether. But what that allows me is that I still have the ability to go to that shot if I want to use it. Right? So if I want to use the FX30, I still have the ability to do so and give a different perspective and a different angle, completely different look. I do stay amazed because, like, this really demonstrate honestly the difference between 10 and 8-bit, and I just stay amazed, like, whenever I use this. But is the functionality, so to speak, of me being able to like disconnect it and use it for other things. And the A7 R2 is more of a permanent fixture where no matter what time of day, I just flick it on if it's not already on, because a lot of times I don't even turn it off. And it's just a simple one button press of my Stream Deck, opens up Ecamm, and I'm already set up, ready to go. You know what? I need to set up some more multi-functions. Talking about that, I need to set up some more multi-functions where I can just press one button and then it will also control all my lights the way that I want them and have them set up ready to rock and roll, including with everything else, Ecamm, so on and so forth. So that's why I'm not using it as my main, but it looks amazing. Things might change in the future, because I really think that my next camera purchase is probably going to be the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, because if I'm I might be correct, I believe it's using the same sensor. It's getting the 10-bit 422, which makes all the difference, and is going to be the baby brother of the FX30, which is just like, they're gonna play so well together. So using the same sensor, a lot of the same features. Doesn't have IBIS, but it does have the active stabilization, which is good enough, especially in the ZV line of cameras. And the colors and everything are going to be the same. You'll be able to record in log, S log 3. 10-bit color is just going to make things that much easier. So if I get well, better said, when I get the ZV-E10, then I just might switch them over and have a 10-bit live stream. But then you could go really crazy. We can have like all high definition 4K cameras rolling around, create my own bullet time. Oh, Kevin made it. He's in the house saying hello to everyone. Sly is here saying Tom is such a great salesman. I had to quit watching his videos. It's costing me too much money. That's Tom, right? But he said something in the live stream that he did at B&H. I don't know if you guys saw that. I had mentioned it to watch it on Sunday, but it was funny. He's like, "Hey, my last name is Buck," so I was like, "You know what? It makes sense. And if it makes dollars, it makes sense." So Jeremy says, "Dude, rocking the PSP old school." Yeah. Actually, like, I'm surprised that I don't have still a 1000 series, like the first fat one. But I ended up selling those. What I have is these. Am I still on the FX30? Yeah. So I have a black PSP and a silver. Oh, it's upside down. Silver PSP. Now they're both modded. So like I have a variety of different games. Actually, you know what? I had turned this one on, and now that we're on this camera, I could show you better. Just gonna finish things out. Where are we? Okay. All right, so I'm accessing my memory stick inside of this PSP. So just inside of this PSP here, I have Need for Speed Most Wanted, Need for Speed Carbon, Need or Midnight Club 3. This is, what is that? Oh, that's Mega Man Power GP. We have Juiced. You can see the theme is car related, as you can see, right? Underneath there, we have Gran Turismo for the PSP, SSX on Tour, which is a snowboarding game. For those of you shout out for remember SSX. Uh, SSX was the first snowboarding game that came out for PlayStation, and it was only to compete with the Nintendo 64's 1080, which was doing pretty good. But I ended up liking SSX, and it being an EA game, that whole different conversation. But we continue. We have Need for Speed Underground Rivals. We also have Need for Speed Underground. Which one's this one? Oh no, this one's Undercover. Need for Speed Shift, Need for Speed Pro Street, Juiced 2, Street Fighter EX Alpha Max 3, Killzone Liberation, another card game, GTI Club, Dragon Ball Z. Then we have Armored Core, Alien Syndrome, and last but not least, what I wanted to get to, Final Fantasy VII, the original for the PlayStation, emulated to work perfectly on my PSP. And all of those games, those many hours of entertainment are on this memory card, allowing me to play. Now, believe it or not, I've actually purchased every single one of these games, from beyond the PlayStation. A lot of them I have, and I could even show you right here. I still have one left. This is my Need for Speed Carbon, right? So this is a UMD disc, or Universal Media disc, and this is how you would actually play the games on the PSP first generation. So the cool thing is that once you modded the PlayStation Pocket, the PSP, you were able to literally take your games, put them into your PSP, and download all the contents right from the disc onto your memory card, thus eliminating the need to have to walk around with this or lose them. So once I had that, I kept them all on there. And the other added benefit was that when you don't have a spinning disc, you're actually using less electricity. So it was just using the processors that it needed to use. The memory was already in hand. So, like an SSD compared to a spinning hard drive, the data transfer was that much better, increasing the gameplay. And then finally, it would also extend your battery life because it was one less thing, or a variety of less things, including lasers, motors, and a lot of things to read and write, or better said, in this case, to read the data off of these, universal media discs, comparative to getting it directly from the flash drive. So there was just so many inherent benefits. It more than doubled my gaming time on the PSP, and this is going back over 20 years. We're talking about turn of the century, right? 2003. You understand? Was so these are the things that, like, I've rocked around with, and yeah, it's just amazing that they're still functioning and working today. And this is another thing which I'll bring it full circle back to the cameras, which is another reason why I love Sony. See, Sony. And why I love Sony branded batteries. Because in my experience with these PSPs and a variety of different models makes, right? I would always try to save a buck, try to save $1, and buy off-brand batteries to power up these devices. Now, when you have them and you're constantly using them, they work okay, right? But We're talking about these two PSPs are over 20 years old. And the reason why they can still take charge today and boot up and function is because they have the Sony original batteries, which is why I advocate for them big time. In my cameras, I felt the same experience that buying third party wasabis and this type power and whatever branded anything that's not a Sony battery will not give you the performance of a Sony battery and will not give you the longevity of a Sony battery. Like, I have variety of different items, including gaming controllers, PSPs, PS Vita. Because yeah, Jeremy, I got this one too. The PS Vita, which is also dope. Touchscreen, dual, like touchback. I added this like little joystick controller so that it adds the R2 buttons to it. So this is also hacked, and I have Final Fantasy 7 is also on this system. You understand? Like, any way that I've had the ability to play that game, I have. And all of the Sony batteries have lasted the test of time. So that's why I put my trust in them, because of the simple fact that they actually are a components company, and that's how they started. They make the parts that go inside of all the other electronics. And starting from the root, right, having a great foundation is why they have such great electronics that last the test of time. All right. So Grinch says, Lewis, you mentioned drifting. Canon USA put out a video of Canon Explorers of Light, Larry Chen. Oh, I love Larry Chen. Love Larry Chen. Oh, are you kidding me? I subscribe to his channel and I watch all of his stuff all the time. Love Larry Chen. Two drifting events using the new R1, and it's amazing. Yeah, I've seen it just because I follow Larry Chen. So I didn't even have to see the Canon side. I just saw his videos, and he's always been a Canonite. So, but yeah, just dope. And I'm big into the drifting scene. So definitely, we can talk about that. Well, at least I could with a variety of different people for a long time. It says a crazy rain, thunder, lightning storm is having a rave party in my neighborhood. So may what's going on with my reading today? Hold on. I keep putting the cursor in front of it. Okay. A crazy rain, thunder, and lightning storm is having a rave party in my neighborhood. So maybe time to log off my computer and watch from the phone. Oh, okay. Well, that's always appreciated, but we are at that time. That's funny. All right, so let me go back to this thing. Actually, you know what? Let's go back here. Just gonna do this on the fly. Yeah, because that's how we're gonna do it. So once again, going back to it, now we're going to Cities God, channels that I think you should go and watch, and it's gonna be pretty much evident that this week's Cities God is none other than LTT or Linus Tech Tips. So as you can see right there, right off of it, it says for me. It's directed to me, and it's giving me the live streams, the WAN show, right, that he does every Friday. So the WAN show is right there up top, but let's click onto the videos button, right? Let's close this off, right, to show you like he's been making a lot of videos. His company has actually gotten pretty big, and he recently hired a CEO to actually take over his job. Oh, I still have that on screen. Let's move that. He actually hired a CEO recently to take over his day-to-day duties of being the boss, to allow him to kind of take a step back and become more of a on-camera personality, because the day-to-day business of creating a YouTube channel, creating products from the LTT store, mixing it all together, and doing it in a correct or ethically correct way, in my opinion, is what was taking him away from creating more content, right? Building the business. So now he has someone who is actually dedicated to the day-to-day operations, allowing him to make more content. And the last series that I've been watching is the Scrapyard Wars, which is right there on the upper right hand corner. Now, the fourth part is about to come up, and as you can see, there's three parts. Scrapyard Wars 2024. It's always been a thing of like, how can you create a camera for the least amount budget, and that's what the Scrapyard War was. But it became popular enough where the people in his surrounding areas were kind of hip to it. So with his popularity growing and that series growing, they took a new twist, which is what is being shown here, that they've actually had to go into disguise, right? And they had to change their faces. You can see in part two, Linus and Luke both had to change their faces so that they can walk around and pretend to be day-to-day people, so that they can get the most honest type of deals and not get extraordinary deals because people want them to be highlighted because they're such fans of the show and the programming. So thus that's actually one of the coolest installments that he's done lately, in my opinion. But there's a variety of different videos that he creates, from education, everything from how to build a PC to oh, he's got that the extreme challenge. With it started with Intel, but now it's AMD, where they randomly give one of his employees a tech upgrade worth up to $5,000, sponsored by AMD, and then he has to go in there and kind of like help them put all of the stuff together in the house. It's a really cool series. But this is a content creator that I've been watching, as you can see, for a very long time, from my days in PC. And if you haven't heard of him already, not by me or anyone else, because I've mentioned him so many times, this is Linus Tech Tips from LTT Store and this week's Cities Gaw, channels that I think you should go and watch. And just to kind of, before we actually go, if I go to the bottom of his main, right, home here, you can see that he's got a variety of different channels, and I'm subscribed to all of these, right? Short Circuit, Tech Quickie, Tech Linked. You see that it's literally saying subscribed, right? And this one, LMG Clips, no, I haven't subscribed to that one, but he's still got quite a few other ones, right? And this is a team. I believe he's well over 110 employees at this point, and it's just been a massive success, and someone that I would hopefully one day like to emulate, right? As far as success on this platform, amongst other things. So once again, if you've never heard of him, and I'll be happy to introduce you to Mr. Linus from Linus Tech Tips and this week's Cities Gone, channels that I think you should go and watch. And there we have it. Boom. All right, guys, we did it. This was episode 194. So if it's your first time here and you're saying like, what is 194? That means 194 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. Every Saturday we do it here, same time, same place, Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So if you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the next installment of the Camera Junkie live stream. Now, everyone, I tell you guys all the time that you guys rock. Oh, we got Spazia in the house as well, saying hello, nice. I have a PSP video games as well, cool. And K Walls in the house, sneaking in, saying hello. How are you? For those of you who are still here, mega like I always tell you guys make this the place that I want to be. And it's not more emphasized than just hours before today's live stream that I get the news that my father is in the hospital. And there's really nothing more that I could have done today. I gave him a call right away, and things are stable, but it looks like my dad might have to go into an emergency surgery now. I wish I would tell you guys more, but it's more about my father, so I'm gonna try to keep his privacy, right? But I just hope that you can keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. um don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm gonna go visit him tomorrow in the hospital, because Sunday is always the day where he would come to visit me, and we would always spend the time together. So I really want to emphasize in that. Today, not getting the best news before the live stream, but you guys, like I said, this is the place where I'd rather be. Especially if I were to get some bad news, I always want, my favorite place to be able to give me the pick me up that I'm looking for sometimes. So even though you guys don't know it, you guys mean so much to me, and this live stream and this community, it's so important to me. And it sucks, right? We just celebrated his 80th birthday at the beginning of the month, and going from good news to not so good news now. I ask of that, right? Just keep him in your thoughts and prayers, keep me in your thoughts and prayers. um because you guys rock, and you guys are the world, and you guys mean so much to me. So thank you as always for being amazing, hanging out here with me. Like I've been hearing, you can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and it is never lost on me because of it. So thank you all for taking the time and spending it here with me. And we'll be doing it all over again, same time, same place, right here on the Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So, as always, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you all, and I will see all of your smiling faces right here next time. Talk to you.